Good morning, Elmira Baptist Church. I think I've got this figured out now. And welcome. It's the 11th of September, 2024. It's a Wednesday, and this is the 23rd anniversary of the attack on the Twin Towers in the Pentagon and another plane going down in Pennsylvania. And I think it's appropriate that we would remember the thousands who died, the innocent lives, as well as those who gave their life to take that plane down in Pennsylvania so that it did not crash into whatever the target was. I'm glad you joined me today. And as I start with some prayer requests, let me mention we need PG&E to come out and complete the energization of this building over here. So I hope you're praying for that. I've been reaching out to them, and you just pray that God would speed that process up. There was a presidential debate last night, if you can call it that. If I understand the format correctly, there was 2 minutes for a speaker, then 2 minutes for the other speaker, and then a 1-minute rebuttal that lasted for a total of about an hour and a half. There was also some fact-checking and other things that the moderators were doing in that. I went back and did a little bit of research into the Lincoln-Douglas debates. In the Lincoln-Douglas debates, of which there were 7 debates, the first speaker spoke for 90 minutes, 9-0, an hour and a half. And then the second speaker had 60 minutes, an entire hour, to rebut the speaker. And then there was a 30-minute closing argument from the first speaker for a total of hour and a half, an hour, 3 hours, but only 3 opportunities to speak. So both Lincoln and Douglas developed very long and complex arguments, entire worldviews of how they saw things. Here were some of the major issues that they discussed, things such as slavery and the expansion of the United States. And then newspapers would publish full transcripts of those debates so that those who did not hear them live could follow them. A lot different than what we are doing today. I'm not sure either candidate said a whole lot about their substantive policy issues last night. But I know you're getting informed and you're voting, and particularly I drew your attention this last Sunday to Proposition 3 here in California. Please pay attention to that and note what that proposition is about. Last week's devotional was on the creation of the world. This week's devotional, I want to talk about creation order. Within creation, what was God doing? And the first thing God was doing in creation was He was creating humans as male and female. Here's what Genesis 1:27 says. So God created man in His own image. In the image of God created He him, male and female created He them. That's what Genesis 1:27 says. And when the Pharisees asked Jesus about marriage, here's what Jesus had to say, and this is in Mark 10:6 and 7. Jesus said, "From the beginning of the creation, God made them male and female. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife." There's a common, although incorrect, saying among some in the political class that Jesus said nothing about gay marriage. I have no idea where they get that from, because right here in Mark 10:7 it says, "For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife." So God's purpose in creation from the beginning was to create men and women, male and female, and then for one man and one woman to be united in marriage. Very clear that that was God's creation order. That's why as Christians, we want to stand for truth. We don't want to admit to a false reality. Now, we live in a Photoshop world. What do I mean we live in a Photoshop world? Well, used to be, you remember the days of your cameras, and you'd put film into that camera and you'd push the shutter button, boom, there would be a picture, except you had no idea what it looked like. And then you take that little cassette or the roll of film down to a shop and turn it in, And they would develop it, and you'd get the prints back. And what you got was what you got. And I remember being told that we couldn't take a whole bunch of photos because we just couldn't afford to develop them all. We wanted to make sure to get this photo right. Today, we take lots of photos, and many we don't even care about. We just throw those away. And if we don't like a photo, we can change it. You want to add someone to your photo, you can even do that. And I think it's given us the impression that technology will fix all things. If we don't like something, we can just dispose of it. We got plenty, and if we want to add something to this, we can just add something to it. It doesn't matter, but it does matter. Any time that we go against creation order, we create problems. There's a saying that ideas have consequences, and they do. And further, bad ideas have victims. And when we go against creation order, there are always victims. I want you to note carefully over the next few years, as you just observe what's going on around you, who those victims are. When we deny creation order and say there's not male and female, there's a whole spectrum, and there's X number of genders. The last number I read was 22, I believe. We're going to only create more confusion and more problems and more chaos. We're going to talk more about creation order next week, but let me move on to some immediate events. Summer is over for most of us. Labor Day marks the end of summer for most of us, and I want to encourage you to get back and join us for worship on Sunday if you have not already. If you have joined us for worship the last couple of Sundays, would you think of someone you did not see this last Sunday that you know makes Elmira Baptist Church their home, and invite them to come out this Sunday? You say, well, they may get 3 or 4 or 5 invitations. That's great. Just you invite them also. Would you do that for me? I don't want them to miss it. This weekend, Dan DeLong is going to be with us, and I will introduce him more formally at our meeting tonight, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. But let me just tell you a little bit about his career. After graduating from college, he spent many years building a youth ministry at Fairhaven Baptist Church in Indiana. Ended up being a huge youth ministry. And while he was there working with youth, he also helped to establish Fairhaven Baptist College. That was the college I attended when I was there, as well as working with the youth. He was the dean of men. Then, not long after I graduated, he left that ministry to go to Papua New Guinea, where he spent some amount of time and established almost a dozen churches there in Papua New Guinea, just training nationals and helping them start churches. And then he was telling me last night during one of his furloughs, and I didn't know this until last night, during one of his furloughs, instead of coming back to the States and reporting to churches and raising more funds, the Lord had provided plenty of funds for him. Instead of that, he went to Trinidad and Tobago and assisted in planting a church there in Trinidad and Tobago. Later, cancer brought him back to the States, and so he left his ministry there in Papua New Guinea and worked at Gospel Light Baptist Church under Dr. Bobby Robertson for 3 years. And then he returned to the mission field, this time to Australia, where he established yet another church. And then he joined the leadership team there at Baptist International Missions, BIMI it's called. And his job mostly consisted of preparing brand new missionaries for the mission field, helping them get trained, get prepared, helping them find the funds that they needed to get to the mission field. And now, more recently, he has been promoted or moved to a new position where he is the BIMI International Representative. You can ask him more about what that means as we have some time with him this week. But we are very blessed to have him for the next few days. He is a well-traveled, experienced, mature Christian who will be a blessing to you. So don't miss your opportunity to hear him tonight, 7 o'clock. Thursday morning, 9:30, there's a Senior Saints breakfast. He's going to speak to them as well. Then tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, he's going to speak to us on missions. I can't imagine anyone we've had in recent history that's more experienced at missions, having served in Papua New Guinea and Trinidad and Tobago and Australia, and then as part of the leadership team of one of the more well-known mission boards here in the United States. I think he'll have a lot to share with us. Then Friday night at 7 And Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Friday night, we're going to have one session. Saturday morning, two sessions on marriage, little mini conference. And I want to encourage you to be there. I mentioned on Sunday that we have nursery set up for that, for toddlers and infants. Double checked. We also have our supervision for your elementary school children. Go ahead and bring your teen children out if you'd like, and they can help with supervising the younger ones. But we have adult supervision for those children. So just bring your family. Friday night, 7 o'clock. Saturday, 10 o'clock. Be a part of that marriage conference. And then Sunday, he'll be speaking to us all day. 9:45, he'll take Sunday school. 11 o'clock, he's going to preach to us, and again at 5 o'clock. Here are some other dates that are coming up. September 18th, that's a Wednesday night. Next Wednesday, we'll resume our split sessions. Men will meet in here, going over the pursuit of God. Ladies are going to meet in the ministry room, going over profiles of Genesis women. September 22nd is our next food and fellowship. That's about 10 days away. The theme is salads and stuff, and we're going to follow that up with a praise and testimony time. Also on that Sunday, September 22nd, Elmira Baptist Church in Fairfield has invited us to join them for a Singspiration, and I'm planning to go. It's going to be a long day, but I think you will benefit also from being there. September 22nd, 5 o'clock in the evening, Elmira Baptist Church in Fairfield. September 28th is our Widow's Day. There's a sign-up sheet that's remarkably empty so far. Would you sign up if you can help on that Saturday, meeting some of the physical needs of our widows? And then on October 3rd through the 5th is the ladies' retreat at Wolf Mountain. October 11th is our next Star Watch party. And men, the 2-minute warning is on November 1st and 2nd. And you need to sign up for that at the2minutewarning.org. THE and then TWOMINUTEWARNING.org. The 2-minute warning. Sign up there. Let me encourage you as well as inviting someone else out while Brother DeLong is here. Would you pass on this update however you receive it? If you are listening to it as a podcast, if you are watching it on YouTube, just pass that on to another church member and encourage them to watch it as well. And then don't miss your opportunity to hear Dan DeLong speak to us here this week.